Hi. Okay, we're going to continue in the working through the fifth Perek of Beitzah. We're going to have down to 3 Mishnah left. We're up to Mishna Hey, the fifth Mishnah. And we're continuing with this question primarily of related to Tchumin. Again, how far you can transport things depending on whose they are or with whom they are associated. So the Mishnah says, the main distinction in the first half of the Mishnah is going to be between what's called a gachelet and a shalhevet, between a coal, which is a substantial item, right? Even if it's burning, and a shalhevet, the flame itself. If you have just the flame, which is considered something that's not substantial, that's something that doesn't have any. I'll use the word substance again. Something that doesn't have any. It is considered to be that it lacks any material, and therefore we'll see what consequence that has in terms of the halacha. So in regard to our question of tchumin, so if you have a gachelet, if you have a coal, so it is limited in terms of where you can transport it to the owner. If you borrow from someone, if you utilize it on Yom Tov, obviously it's not going to be on Shabbos because it would be muktzah in the first place. If you're transporting that, so it's limited by wherever the original owner would be allowed to go. Again, if he was based at home, then he has 2,000 amot in each direction. If he based himself to the east, then it's biased to the east, the west, north, south, whatever the direction happens to be. And if you're biased in a different direction, then you're not going to be able to go very far with it at all. Whereas a shalhevet, if you just borrowed the flame from someone, obviously you have to transport it on something. But the point is, if let's say you lit your candle off of his candle, and all you borrowed from him was the flame, so then it's not limited in that way, because what you borrowed from him, what you got from him is not substantial. Obviously, the fire is real, but the part that you're utilizing from him is not considered to be substantial in that way. It doesn't have actual material. It's not substance. Halacha doesn't regard it as something real, substantial in this sense, and therefore you can take it wherever you're allowed to go. It's allowed to come with you, and now it's yours in that sense. Now the Mishnah then takes us to a different area of halacha where this same concept, this same distinction applies in a gachelet and a shalhevet, between the coal and a flame. And that's with regard to the world of me'ilah. Me'ilah is if you take something that belongs to Hekdesh, belongs to the Beit HaMikdash, and you utilize it for your own purposes, you utilize it for non-holy, non-sanctified purposes, which obviously you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to do it regardless, but again, if you take it in a way that, if you meet certain criteria, then it's a full-fledged violation of Me'ilah, and if not, so it's not okay, but it's not a full-fledged violation of Me'ilah, and there are consequences if it's a full-fledged violation of Me'ilah. If you did it under certain criteria, you have to bring a korban, there's certain penalties, and if not, then it's not nice, it's not good, it's not proper, but there's not a full-fledged violation of Me'ilah, it doesn't have all the relevant consequences. So the Mishnah says, Gachelet shel hekdesh mo'alin ba, v'shalhevet lo ne'anin v'lo mo'alin. If you took a coal that belonged to hekdesh and utilized it for your own purposes, so that is a full-fledged violation of Me'ilah, because again, the coal has substance, and you're taking an object that belongs to Hekdesh and utilizing it for your own purposes, and that is considered a violation, a full-fledged violation, and that is considered Me'ilah in the full sense. Whereas if you took just the flame that belonged to Hekdesh, again, so something that was burning, and you utilized the flame for your own purposes, but you didn't use the actual substance of whatever it was that was burning, so then, lo neheni, you're not allowed to do it. It's improper. It's a d'Rabbanan violation of like Me'ilah. That's not considered full-fledged Me'ilah. You wouldn't have to bring a korban for it, and the extra penalties would not apply. It's lo neheni, you're not allowed to do it. It's not proper. It's d'Rabbanan Me'ilah, but it's not full-fledged Me'ilah. That's the first half of the Mishnah. Getting back to our distinction, we're remaining with our distinction issue of gachelet versus shalhevet. Now we get to a different issue, and that is getting back to the world of Shabbat, of taking something out from transporting something on Shabbat, from, let's say, from the private domain to a public domain, Amatzei gachal l'reshut harabim, chayav shall have it patur. If you transport a coal from a private domain to a public domain on Shabbat, right, like any other object, so this is considered an object, tzir chayav shall have it. If you would take just a flame, I don't know how you transport just the flame. If it's not on something, whatever it is, if you just Kahati explains if you blew it, if you did something that pushed the flame towards Reshut HaRabim, obviously you can't carry just a flame, doesn't work, you burn your hands. If you did something that transported the flame, so then you are patur. That's not moving a flame. It might have other consequences that are atrocious, but in terms of Ilchot Shabbat, that's not called carrying it to the Reshut HaRabim. Okay. Now, the last case of the Mishnah moves us to the world of bor. It's not exactly a Bava Kama case here. It's a case of if you take water from a pit, from a they use the word a cistern. If you take water from different kinds of public. Like they use the word system. If there was a public, the place where we can gather water, depends on who it belongs to. It's the same concept we've been seeing. There was a bor shel yachid kerglei yachid. Again, if you take from someone's private water collection, like a private, we would use the well or something else. So if it's from someone's private water, so then it follows his wherever he can go, the water can go. If it was a well, a cistern of a certain city, if it belonged to the people of that town, so then you can take it to wherever the people of that town can go. Presumably it would be 2,000 amot in any given direction from the city. Right, a city is not likely to make an area of tchum in one direction or another. However, as explains in various places, there were places when the Jews came back from Bavel, at the time of the second Beit HaMikdash, so they designated certain places that for the people who made Aliyah L'Regel, that they would be for public use. And basically it means water that's hefker, water that's available for public use. So if you have such water, so whoever gets it, it's his. He doesn't have, and it was assumed to be ready for him all along, and therefore whoever fills it up, he can take it wherever he goes, and he doesn't have to take these kinds of things into account. He doesn't have to worry, it was this one's, it was that one's, it's his. And so wherever he's allowed to go, it's allowed to go with him. And that is what we have in this Mishnah. We only have 2 Mishnah left. As Hashem, next week we will be able to finish up. Everyone will be able to make a siyum in time for Shavuot, God willing. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.